Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Grim Tools. Probably the best site you can have for thinking about builds for your character. I'm gonna start out with the classes. Demolitionist. Put a lot of points into Demolitionist. And the reason why I have to do skills, even though I want to do devotion planning, is you have to assign skills to the devotions. So I'm just gonna spend some points to have them in there. So that is about my stuff I have, and that as well. And now to the other class, Nightblade. Go all the way to the back. Good. That. Very good. Now to devotion. Now that's the tricky part. So we're gonna scroll out. We're gonna start by going for yellow. And go for that. Because that gives us 15% up plus all damage. And we are able to take this point out. So next thing is we're gonna go with the green one and go with the hawk because of 8% crit damage. Another easy thing. Then we can take out the green one. We go red. What we most definitely have to pick is the ghoul. We're gonna assign the ghoul to Vindictive Flame. Another thing we could pick is the Viper. Since we're dealing elemental damage, we could go with Viper without any problem. And now we have to look into what will be next. We could go with the Jackal and see what we unlock. We unlocked basically nothing. Nothing. We take the Jackal away, nothing changes. We only get the Revenant. But we don't really need the Revenant because it's mostly like an energy thing with a bit of resistances. Not really. So, we could go with the Fiend, but I have played with the Fiend before. It wasn't really a great option to have. So what we could do is check what we get if we upgrade the Lizard. Nothing. We get the Wendigo, but that's not really a helpful thing. So we can take the Crossroads point here away. So so far we got the Lion, the Viper, the Ghoul, and the Hawk. Damage and survivability. We could go with Crossroads and see, okay, we get the Empty Throne, which gives us resistances. That would give us more purples. And then we're kind of stuck again because what else? So, we could go with the Owl, which unlocks basically nothing for us. We want to do stuff like the Behemoth. And Behemoth says affinity requirement 4 blue, 4 green, 3 red. That means we gonna put a few points into Crossroads again. And boom, we get the Behemoth. Nothing else unlocked, only the Behemoth. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna assign Giant's Blood to Flame Touched. Complete the whole, and boom, we unlock a few things. You see what we unlock just by clicking on it. Completing the whole thing. Okay, so we got two really great choices right now. We can go with Rowena's Crown Rowan's Crown, sorry. Or we could go with the Chariot of the Dead. Both are really strong options. Chariot of the Dead is a survivability option. Rowan's Crown is damage. So we try to pick both. We go with the Chariot. We assign the Chariot to Pneumatic Burst. And you just saw we unlocked Hyrian, Guardian of Celestial Gates, which is another great option for us, but we still want to go with Rowan's Crown. We're gonna go all that. And now we see we can assign stuff to, let's say, we're gonna go with Fire Strike, because that's our main skill. So, you just saw we got nothing. We just unlocked nothing. You can scroll out a bit more just to make this clear, but when I click on this, nothing changes. We get more affinities, but nothing changes. So, what do we have here? We want to go with Olzuin, Storage and Magi. We can do Magi. So, we most definitely want to go Magi, since we still deal a lot of burn damage. So we go with Magi all the way through, getting all of it. Even though casting speed doesn't really bother us, the 100% burn damage and 15 for Seek are really good. So we got this, we're gonna go with Execution and we're fine. But the Magi still didn't unlock Olzuin Storage. Now here comes Crossroads again. We can check. Have we green? We have a green. Damn it. That means we have to look for another source for green. That doesn't give us green. We could go with Eldritch Fire, since it removes fire resistance. Actually a really great thing. So we're gonna go with Soleil's Witchblade. Link that to Whirling Death. And then we're up to the last thing. At least for this devotion plan. Keep that in mind. This devotion plan only gives us 55 points. In the mod we can go up to 68. So we would go all out on Olzuin Storage. And after that we can look into what else we can boost. We could go for another blue thing, let's say the Lizard, to get to Tempest. We could also go for the Eel, both are defensive options. That is up for the test. But as of right now, we could go with all of that and still end up being able to remove certain Crossroad abilities or Crossroad points. So we basically picked whatever we wanted currently, and we are pretty good on the damage front. So there are only a few more options we could go for. We could go for lightning increases. Here we have Ultos, Shepherd of Storms. We have Tempest. We could go with Spear of the Heavens. Yeah, but other than that, we are pretty good on the fire front and survivability as well. We can't really use a shield since we're dual wield, so anything shield related, anything trauma related is probably out of the question. That leaves us with a few options. We could go Hyrian, Guardian of the Celestial Gates. We can go with Tempest, Spear of the Heavens, Ultos, Shepherd of Storms. We can go for the Phoenix. The Phoenix is actually a really important one. So we should actually go for the Phoenix. But that means we have to see where we can get more blue points. And that's where the Lizard comes in handy. Or the Eel. Depends on what we pick. We can actually pick both, but I guess the Eel doesn't really... The Eel fits a bit more into the whole defensive thing. It gives a resistances, defensibility, movement speed, a bit of defensive ability and chance to avoid projectiles, while as the Lizard just gives us health and health regeneration. So we are becoming a bit of a meat shield. If we can go both, I would pick both, but I guess just for like complete constellation bonus and bonuses in general, or bony in general, I would go with eel. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually gonna try that. We're gonna cancel that, and we're gonna turn off the sound, at least the music, and we're gonna start up Grim Dawn. So, we will just use a potion I have in the bank left, which is the Tonic of Clarity, I guess. It resets my devotion points completely. And that makes it easier to get everything set up instead of going backtracking, because you can't really go back once you build it up, since you have to acknowledge that certain constellations depend on their own, so you can't really backtrack. I don't want to go to Elite, I want to go to Ultimate. Next thing we have to keep in mind is I don't have every devotion point currently unlocked. I still need 2 or 3 shrines, so when I have those, I can complete the whole picture. But for now, I just have to go with whatever I have, but it's still better than nothing. It's getting quite warm again. The door. Good. Okay. So let me go to bank and get my potion of Tonic of Clarity, like I said. Use that thing, and I'm happy. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. This is always the most confusing part. So we started out with the lion. So the lion is done. We went over to the viper. The viper requires 1 red. So we unlocked all of that. So then we went on and grabbed the ghoul. That goes to Vindictive Flame. Ghoul is active. So, what we then did was grabbing the throne and the hawk. That and that. So, we were then 1 point short for the behemoth and went for this crossroads point. We placed everything inside the behemoth. I think we used the blast shield, if I'm not mistaken, on this point. Or flame touched, I think it was flame touched. We unlocked a bunch of other things. We went for the chariot. Placed that on pneumatic burst. And we went for Rowan's crown, which we linked to, I think, Fire Strike, just for the damage sake. We also picked up Soleil's Witchblade. And I'm gonna place that on execution since it's a really important debuff for the enemy. We then picked up the Magi. We're gonna place that on another really high hitting thing, which is Whirling Death. So, then we went with the Ulzuin's Torch. Gonna place that on our Rasta's Quick Cut. That leaves us with 3 points. So we basically maxed out everything we wanted so far. Just checking on the stuff again. Yeah, we maxed out everything we wanted. And then there was a plan to grab, for example, Ultos, Shepherd of Storms, which is down here, but that requires more blue orbs. So what that means is we're gonna spend 3 points in here in the eel. That gives us the option to go for Tempest and actually Aladra's Phoenix. Aladra's Phoenix is is the most important thing now, so I'm just gonna go to the respec guy and remove the crossroads. Also, in storage is dependent on this thing, so I'm not able to remove it now. But the rest is okay. So I have 4 points for the Phoenix, which does not give us the option to complete it, but it does give us the option to get the 10% crit damage. So I am 1 point away from actually completing the Phoenix, and then I have 3 points available. And I think I'm gonna go with... That is a really great thing, 5% more crit damage. I could go with that. Other than that, it wouldn't really benefit me. I'm just getting a bit of offensive ability. That's 50. That's 70 offensive ability. And the only thing we would care about would be the 5% crit damage, 120 electrocute damage. So that would be 80 lightning damage, 120% electrocute damage, and this cold damage is not important to us. What would be the other options? Another option would be Tempest up here. We have 3 points, so we could go with 40% lightning, then lightning physique, and then lightning electrocute. I'm not sure if that would make up for 5% crit damage. I don't know, but what I do know is for 3 points I'm getting more bonus, like more damage out of it. The physique helps with this with the survivability. Another option I have, and I'm not really sure if I want to do that, but it's an option I have to be aware of, is I can go with the lizard. Just checking on other stuff before I go to the lizard. So yeah, I could go with lizard, which would give me a lot more health, a bit of movement speed, even though I don't really need it. But the health regeneration, the healing effects by 3% should affect attack damage converted to health as well. 6 health regenerated per second is not much. So I really would like to go for damage, and I think Tempest would be the best choice for that. Since it just boosts the damage, I could go with Hirian as well. That is all elemental damage, 40% all elemental damage. Pierce resistance, okay. And the next point would be health, armor, and healing effects. Also not a good option, to be honest. Yeah, that's about the options I have for my last 3 devotion points. I could go with the Jackal as well. That would be 6% energy. I honestly do not care about it. 6% attack speed and movement speed. And 15% to all damage. So that would be 15% to lightning, electrocute, everything. 2% physical resistance. Also an option. Probably not the best one. I have to work around it with it. Just applying the last 3 points and then checking the DPS here. But as you can see, I got a lot more DPS out of it. I was at 34, I guess. I was like at 34,000 before. Now I'm at 37,000.